Every game goes a little something like this. You get introduced to a world with little to no information or context. As the game progresses, by solving puzzles or beating bosses, you get accustomed to the world and become immersed in the story and lore, or maybe the gameplay loop. All of this just so you can reach the climax, the ending, where a cutscene plays, the credits start rolling and you're done. Not all follow this narrative, but it's pretty common to have the most intense part of the story right at the end, and it makes sense. The entire game's story, all the joy, the frustration, confusion, it all feeds into the ending of the game. After this, there really isn't supposed to be anything new, maybe some side quests or secrets, but that's it. The main goal has been achieved, so why continue? Right?
This is gonna be weirder than usual.
Control was a game released in 2019 by Remedy Entertainment. It's set in a fictional universe where the United States has a secret agency called the Federal Bureau of Control, or FBC for short, tasked with investigating and containing anomalies akin to the SCP Foundation. You play as Jesse Faden, who came to the FBC in search of her brother, Dylan. You are led here by an entity in your head which is not in fact schizophrenia, but more similar to a guide. While wandering the halls of the Bureau, you come across the director's office. Inside, you find a mysterious gun which can transform into a pistol, shotgun, and so on. By picking up the gun, you become the Bureau's new director and are tasked with getting rid of an entity dubbed the Hiss. This thing apparently came out of nowhere and acts like the plague. It spreads quickly and without proper equipment. For example, these things, you'll be affected by it too. Trust me, you do not want to be like this guy. The map, besides being big and complex, with multiple layers for each sector, is also very detailed and has some parts which look absolutely stunning. There are upgrades you can get by exploring. Depending on the difficulty, they can prove to be the difference between life and death. Let's move further into the story. After you find Dylan, who casually speaks like an eldritch being, he informs you that the slide projector is how the Hiss got inside the old house, where the Bureau is located. So, a new mission begins. Finding that damn projector. A completely normal encounter with the janitor and a cool action scene with music later, you get access to the chamber in which the projector is stored. However, you do learn that the voice inside your head is not in fact schizophrenia, but an entity called Polaris, which is connected to Hadron, another entity from Slidescape 36. So you go there to search for clues of where the projector could be. But then, the Hiss attacks, and you desperately try your hardest to cleanse and protect Hadron. Yeah, let me put emphasis on try. Despite all your efforts, you failed. And the game abruptly ends. Or so you may think. This got me the first time I played the game. It subverted my expectation and I was left confused by how abruptly it ended. What sold the idea were the credits. In the last scene, you get corrupted by the Hiss and supposedly die, then shown credits. I've never seen a game do this before. Well, I'm sure it's not the only one out there, but I'd expect this to be done by an indie game, not a AAA game like Control. When watching a movie or a TV show, the credits being presented usually means that whatever you are watching is over and the game uses this to its advantage. Of course, it's not that hard to see through the smoke and mirrors. There are things which give it away, such as the music. It's strange and kinda sounds like it's reversed, but fitting. The Hiss is an entity which distorts the human mind and makes anyone who comes into contact with it sound like a complete nut job by spouting nonsense and making you float like a certain someone. It takes over your mind and you lose control of yourself. And both you and the game know that this is not the right note to end it on. Afterwards, the game continues with a section which is as boring as the office work it portrays. Get a final mission after learning that the previous director is the one who let the Hiss in, and you're tasked with closing the projector for good. After a couple fights and falls into the void, you eliminate the Hiss from Dylan, close the projector, and with the credits playing, the game's actually done. Who could have seen that coming? Well, speaking of, the Persona franchise has some of the best games ever made, taking all into consideration, from story to how both the main cast and NPCs interact with one another. With every social link having depth, The environment is filled with details which give life to everything, not to mention that it's complemented by an amazing soundtrack that you are hearing right now. But this isn't the main topic of the video. I'm more interested in the newest release, Persona 3 Reload. But first, a bit of context. If you've never played Persona 3 before, here are some things of note. The Dark Hour is described as a hidden part of the day, starting from when the clock strikes midnight, lasting for about an hour. Most people are not aware it happens and it goes unnoticed. Most of the time. The SES is the team you are a part of, consisting of 5 members. Makoto, the protagonist, Yukari, Mitsuru, Akihiko, and the ace detective. The goal of the team is to somehow get rid of the Dark Hour as shadows thrive in it, devouring the soul of any human they come across. Shadows are basically monsters which can take all sorts of forms. People who are eaten then become a husk and look like they hit a fan cart. The in-game media calling them apathy syndrome victims. The only way to fight back is using a persona, a manifestation of one's soul, as traditional weapons such as knives or firearms don't work. You have a year to rid the world of the Dark Hour. You start in March, but skipping ahead to July, it's revealed by Mitsuru that there are 12 powerful shadows who are fragments of the Death Arcana. The chairman says that by defeating them all, you can get rid of the Dark Hour for good, and so this becomes your end goal. Every full moon you need to beat a powerful shadow, and in between battles you get a month to either create better personas, acquire better gear, grow social links, or whatever pleases you. Armed with this knowledge and 6 of the 12 shadows down, you continue onwards for the next 4 months, slaying shadows and getting stronger. It's also worth mentioning that as you get closer to Operation Day, there is an increase in people with apathy syndrome. However, after knocking a shadow off the list, the cases go down. So you must be on the right track. In the meantime, more people join you in order to help eradicate the Dark Hour. They are Grok AI girlfriend, child with trauma who is overly kind, the best girl, and homeless man. Then you all reach the final fight with the shadow. Well, minus one guy. But not before these 2 annoyances come in and ruin the fun. Getting past them and killing the prick in the sky, the Dark Hour is finally over. Well, you have to wait until the next day to know for sure, but you saw that totally legit video which wasn't at all manipulated in order to trick you. No need to worry about it. The shadows attacked us because they're protecting the Dark Hour, so if we aren't alive to destroy them, the Dark Hour will still exist. Only thing left now is to celebrate. Everyone gathering in the dorm lounge with a surprise guest, the head of the Kirijo group. You sit down with everyone and enjoy your time after completing your mission. Only one thing, the chairman and Aegis are running a little late, but they said there are still some things to do, so you don't mind that. As time goes by, you notice it's almost 12 o'clock, and as the hour turns... The Dark Hour is still present. Bells ring in the distance, coming from Tartarus, and everything clicks. You've been tricked. The chairman is planning something, and it can't be good, so you rush to Tartarus. The game is still not over. I like this fake out, since it lured me into a false sense of security. The game, it gave you a goal earlier. Defeat the shadows and you win. Basically, finally seeing it through with your objective means that the main goal was achieved and there's no reason to continue with the story as mentioned in the beginning. What's there to achieve if nothing's left? This betrayal hurts even more since the chairman was a trustworthy member of the SES from the very beginning. That was the point. This can happen to anyone. I know people who've been backstabbed by lifelong friends for apparently no reason, but everyone has their own motives and this guy's not different. The reason as to why he put us on this mission to eliminate the 12 shadows was so that he can destroy and reset humanity back to zero. Yeah, and by reset I mean full-scale extermination, which in my playbook is a no-no. It's revealed that the video explaining how to get rid of the Dark Hour was obviously manipulated and the original stated to not get rid of them, as this would doom us all. So great job! Everything you and your team worked towards was all just a lie. The entire game scope was all a lie. One other detail I noticed on my second playthrough was that Pharos, the mysterious boy who appears at night in the bedroom after a full moon operation, mentions that parts of his memory are coming back to him slowly with each shadow we kill. After the last shadow has been defeated, he recovers all his memories. It might seem unrelated until you take two things into consideration. One, the Death Arcana was split into 13 fragments, the 12 fragments being the shadows, while the last one being Pharos, who later takes on the form of Luigi. 2. By slaying the shadows, you inadvertently help put the pieces back together, which is why the boy starts remembering the more you progress through full moons. The build up towards this was genuinely great, and the betrayal was, for me at least, unexpected. The only thing that kinda gave it away was the calendar, as in the beginning you're given 1 year to live, and well, there's still some time until March. You defeat Strega in the final confrontation, but what was supposed to be the final battle feels and ends in an anticlimactic fashion, which was intended. If you compare what was supposed to be the final battle and the actual one, it's clear which gives you that sense of finality. Take a look.
見るといい。これが君たちの選んだ道だ。
So far, both Control and Persona 3 have shown us how to subvert the player's expectations in interesting ways. Control, on one hand, made an actual ending with credits and being the closest to what you might expect when saying fake ending. On the other hand, there is Persona, which gives the impression that the story is about to conclude via a pre-established motive. The problem with this approach is that you can't do it more than once inside the same game, as people will see through your deception. So here's how Inscryption flips that concept on its head. Released in 2021, and although it presents itself at first as a simple card game with roguelike and escape room elements which all combine into one seamless experience, there's more to it. In the main menu, start by pressing New Game, but here you don't have that option. Instead, only thing you can do is press Continue. You don't press it, you put the continue card down. Yeah, shut up. A mysterious pair of eyes then starts talking to you, explaining the basics of how to play. In short, there is this resource called Blood, which works like mana. In order to be able to obtain it, you need to sacrifice one or more of your cards on the field, depending on the cost of the card you want to play. There is a scale on the table, and it's used to decide who wins. Whoever sidesteps first loses. You need to deal damage to the opponent's empty field spaces in order to tip it in your favor. There are also items which grant you advantages, but no need to go into detail. After playing for a couple of minutes and losing, the mysterious man asks you to bring him a candle. This is how you learn that you can get up from your seat and explore around the cabin. You notice a strange door, but nothing to do besides stare and wonder. There seem to be puzzles scattered around the room akin to an escape room. You can't solve any of them yet, so you decide to go back with the candles. The mysterious man explains that the candles represent how many lives you have left. During boss fights, you're only allowed one life, but in general, you have two. If you lose, then you're brought to the ominous room where you kept seeing flashes of light coming from the small window in the door. But you're not here without a reason. Death is what awaits you. However, before that, you're asked to create a card. One which is personalized by taking traits from a pair of cards, such as the HP, blood cost, sigils, and so much more, which can make the game surprisingly easy. The card is almost done, with the only thing remaining being the photo. This is the roguelike element I mentioned. At the end of every run, you'll get to make your own card to help you after restarting. Eventually, after overcoming the 3 major battles at the end of every world, you get here. You're outside the cabin, and as you step in, the man greets you. He wants one last fight. After reaching phase 3, this is what happens. Yeah, it's supposed to be hard, but alas, after destroying the moon, you're given your prize. A meal? Who am I kidding? Run that back. Remember what I said about puzzles in the room? Some puzzles can only be solved after a couple of resets. However, one requires you to have the correct pair of eyes. What do I mean by that? Let me lobotomize myself real quick, and here it is. You need to select this eye as a replacement, which now allows a secret message to be seen. More importantly, if you input the time as shown on the clock, you get this film roll, alongside this card. In a previous run, just before you die, the camera is accessible to you. Try taking a photo of the man, but nothing happens. He takes it from you. However, this time, you insert the film inside, and... the man suffers the same fate as you did many times. You look around the room and find what was making all those flashing lights. You pick up the card and, with nothing left to do, you're back in the menu. Now you can finally press new game and see what happens. The game transitions into Game Boy style graphics and you're brought into what's called the second act. So in order to not make half the video about Inscryption, I'll give you a rundown on what the objective is now. You select a scribe to replace, battle the rest of the scribes, return to where you spawned, have one last battle, and done. If you couldn't tell already, it means you watch my video in the background while cleaning or doing something else, which... fair. Where was I? Yeah. Game within a game within a game, wizardry, puzzle, final boss, which really isn't because every good game needs a twist, and my thoughts on the game. The first thing to mention here is that now it's an entirely new game, from 3D graphics to 2D. It seems like a totally different game. I took screen recordings, one from the first act of the game and the second from Act 2. Then showed it to my friend and asked, what do these games have in common, besides being card games? I got asked if they were the same game. My friend recognized the first game as Inscryption, but not the second. The game keeps itself fresh by constantly switching from modern to old, using the final battle trope in turn-based RPGs as a way to link all the parts of the game together. All these games, if you look at it from the surface level, they build up expectations from the player in order to make that gotcha moment. Suffice to say, I really enjoyed these moments. They never felt rushed, they all had a good reason to be there. In Inscryption, the purpose of the fake ending was to serve as a transition between major sections. In Persona, it showed you how not every goal you work towards will come out exactly how you envision it, and betrayal can come from even the most unexpected people, while Control shows you how you can lose all of your power in an instant, and without that power, you're just an average Joe. Now, not every game needs one. That would entirely defeat the point of having one in the first place. It's nice when it catches you off guard, which is why Inscryption does it best in my opinion. It switches from that 3D look to 2D and back again to 3D, which starts to make you question just how big is this game. There are tapes you can watch in select points in the game progression which explain the story, but at no point, only in the last 15 minutes, could I tell when this is going to end. It all felt like it could go on forever.